The more prestigious the label, the more likely it is to be faked.
Handbags, watches, clothes, fakes have been around for decades.
The Chinese have become masters of the knockoff.
Now the bogus brands have reached the bottle shops of China.
But it's like going into a knockoff shop anywhere. You sort of know it's a knockoff. The people selling it know it's a knockoff, but you buy it anyway because you like to be seen with that particular design.
Penfolds Bin 389 is an iconic Australian wine. The 2010 sells for around $85, but one of these bottles is a fake, and it's almost impossible to tell which one.
As retailers, it's concerning to look at these bottles because they are so similar, and next to each other you can discern differences, but if I went into a store and saw that bottle on the shelf, I would think it was authentic.
There are tiny differences on the label that a TV camera can barely pick up, so there's only one way to put the wines to the test.
Okay, you've looked at the bottles. You ready to see what the taste is like?
Yeah.
Sure.
We've assembled 3 experts brave enough to put their reputations on the line. Erin Larkin from Lamont's Winery, the West Australian's wine writer Ray Jordan, and Michael Hartley from Steve's in Nedlands. One glass contains the real Penfolds, the other the fake. They start with the smell.
I think the first thing I'd say is whoever's faked it has done a pretty good job.
I'm going with the right. Just smells like it's got more structure.
Then the all-important taste, and there's something sus about the wine on their left.
It's slightly greener and leaner, and I think that's where I can see that trickery gone into the wine.
It's good. It's a good wine, but it just has all of the edges that should be there in terms of complexity and layers are not.
It's the power underlying in this wine that makes me go for definitely number 2 is the 389.
Have we established that they're distinctly different?
Very different.
Yeah. So Erin, which one is it?
I'm going with wine number 2.
Michael, which one?
Wine number 2 is Penfolds 389.
Well, for what it's worth, I tend to agree.
Well, you can all keep your job because wine number 2 is the Penfolds. Is that a relief?
Yes.
The experts agree it's a pretty good copy, so where does this counterfeit wine come from? We took both wines to a forensic chemistry laboratory in Bibra Lake to find out.
Hi Jenna, here's the wine. What do you think you might be able to tell me?
We're going to analyse these wines for their chemical fingerprint, and from that we'll be able to tell you whether they're Australian or not, and then hopefully which country they actually come from.
It's world-first technology using a database collected from vineyards around the world. The results confirm the fraud. Both the wines and the bottles are vastly different. The scientists found a 54% chance that the fake wine originated in Australia, meaning it could be an inferior Aussie product posing as Penfolds or a blend of local and overseas wine.
If you look past the fact that you're being ripped off, if you look past the fact that you're not buying the product that you wanted to purchase, you actually don't know what you're putting into your body, which is the biggest thing for me.
The West's Ray Jordan says counterfeit wine is a huge problem for companies like Penfolds who rely on brand and reputation.
On one hand, no problem, you expand the image and your brand by having the wine faked. The problem is if what goes in the bottle turns out to be a bit dodgy and a bit dangerous.
Penfolds is investigating the fake wine racket, working with customs here and in China.
They're very conscious that their brand is on the line because, they're selling a lot of wine into China, so they do treat it very, very seriously.
In the meantime, most Chinese wine drinkers are none the wiser.
Unless you know what you're to look for, you're going to find it very difficult to determine.
Would the average consumer notice this, do you think?
Absolutely not.